Welcome to episode 11. This is the turning point. For 10 episodes we traced the sour grapes of the vineyard, the collapse of false security, and the stripping of the outer mask. Now the text takes us into the temple, into a vision so intense it becomes a reset for Uzziah himself. Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 13, is not only a prophecy about a nation, it is a portrait of what happens when the human inner life breaks through its usual limits and encounters holiness. Before we begin, a clear disclaimer. This presentation is a metaphysical and psychological inquiry that uses certain concepts associated with the Seth Speaks material by Jane Roberts as a conceptual lens. It is not a replacement for scripture, doctrine, or personal faith. The Bible is honored here as sacred text. Our purpose is educational and philosophical, to examine how prophetic experience may operate through awareness, symbolism, moral perception, and the structure of human meaning. Isaiah begins with a time marker. In the year King Uzziah died, he saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. That opening matters. The death of a king is not background detail, it is a psychological event. When a long-standing authority figure collapses, whether a leader, a system, or a personal anchor, something inside the mind becomes exposed. The everyday story fractures. The illusion of control weakens. What was normal loses its certainty. Theologically, Isaiah is anchoring his vision in history. He is not describing a private fantasy detached from real life. He is speaking as a man inside a real moment of upheaval, and that upheaval becomes the doorway. The throne of a human king has been emptied, and Isaiah is confronted with a different throne, the Lord, high and lifted up. If we borrow metaphorical language from psychology and from Sethian frameworks carefully, we could say this: when the external supports fail, the inner senses can awaken. A crisis can strip away the mental noise that normally absorbs attention. It can force a deeper question: what is truly ultimate? Isaiah's vision answers that question with overwhelming clarity. The Lord is not one power among many. He is the one who stands above all the structures that rise and fall. Isaiah then describes seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 they cover their faces, with 2 they cover their feet, and with 2 they fly. And they call to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, the whole earth is full of his glory. The temple shakes at the sound, and the house fills with smoke. This is one of the most important moments in Scripture for understanding holiness. Holiness is not merely niceness, holiness is otherness. It is moral perfection, infinite purity, and absolute reality. The seraphim do not behave like casual visitors, they cover their faces and their feet. That posture communicates reverence. Even the highest creatures in the vision respond to God with humility. The closer you get to true holiness, the less pride survives. The threefold holy is not a volume trick, it is a declaration. God is holy beyond category, holy beyond comparison, holy beyond dilution, and the phrase, the whole earth is full of his glory, expands the vision outward. Isaiah is not seeing a God confined to a building, he is seeing the Lord as the ground of all being. The earth is saturated with God's glory, even if human eyes fail to notice. If we use cautious metaphor, we can say Isaiah's perception has widened. His attention has moved from surface reality to underlying reality. In everyday life, we see objects and events. In this vision, Isaiah experiences meaning, presence, and moral truth, as if they were the most solid elements in existence. The shaking thresholds and the smoke express the impact of holiness on the human mind. When ultimate reality presses in, the ordinary frame cannot remain untouched. Then Isaiah collapses inward and says, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. This is the crisis of the self. Notice what Isaiah confesses. He does not begin by accusing others. He begins with himself. Holiness does not first make him proud, it makes him honest. Theologically, Isaiah's unclean lips refers to moral impurity and the inability of sinful humanity to stand confidently before a holy God. His reaction is not theatrical. It is the proper response of a conscience awakened by the presence of the Lord. He feels undone because the contrast is unbearable. divine purity versus human corruption. Psychologically, this resembles a moment of radical self-recognition. When a person sees truth clearly, excuses dissolve. The self can feel as if it is breaking apart because it can no longer hide behind its usual masks. It is not the destruction of the person's value, it is the destruction of the person's false confidence. Uzziah is being stripped, but not to shame him, rather to prepare him. Then, one of the seraphim flies to Uzziah with a live coal taken from the altar with tongs. The seraph touches Uzziah's mouth and declares, "Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is purged." This moment is often misunderstood as mere symbolism. But in Scripture, symbols carry reality. The altar is a place of sacrifice, a place where atonement is pictured. The coal represents cleansing that comes from God, not from self-improvement. Theologically, this is grace. Uzziah confesses uncleanness, and God provides purification. The prophet is not saved by his terror, he is cleansed by God's initiative. The coal touches the area Uzziah named, his lips, his speech, his instrument of proclamation. The cleansing is not vague, it is targeted. Uzziah is being prepared to speak. If we borrow metaphor with care, we can describe this as retuning. When a person is purified, when inner disorder is confronted and forgiven, there is a reordering of the self. The conscience becomes clearer, the will becomes steadier, the person becomes less divided. But we must keep the center where Scripture places it. Uzziah is changed because God cleanses him. Now comes the shift. Uzziah hears the Lord asking, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And Uzziah responds, "Here am I, send me." This is the moment when worship becomes mission. Uzziah moves from collapse to consent, from woe to willingness, from fear to purpose. Theologically, this is vocation. A prophet is not merely someone with insights. A prophet is someone sent. Uzziah is not volunteering to become famous. He is surrendering to an assignment that will cost him comfort. His response is the fruit of grace. He does not offer himself to earn cleansing, he offers himself because he has been cleansed. Then comes the hardest section. God instructs Uzziah to speak to a people who will hear but not understand, see but not perceive. The heart will be dull, the ears heavy, the eyes shut, lest they turn and be healed. This has troubled readers for centuries. We must handle it carefully. Theologically, Uzziah is being commissioned into a ministry that will expose hardness. The point is not that God enjoys blindness. The point is that persistent refusal of truth produces judgment, and judgment can take the form of being confirmed in the path one has chosen. When people repeatedly reject correction, their capacity to receive it weakens. Uzziah's preaching will become a dividing line. It will offer truth, but it will also reveal who refuses truth. Psychologically, there is a sober parallel. When a person repeatedly justifies wrongdoing, the conscience can become numb. When a community normalizes injustice, it loses sensitivity to injustice. The same message that could heal a receptive heart can harden a defensive heart, not because truth is evil, but because pride resists it. Uzziah is being told not to expect quick applause. His words will function like light, they will illuminate, but those who prefer darkness will turn away. Uzziah asks, "How long, Lord?" And the answer is severe. Until cities lie waste and the land is desolate and people are removed far away. Yet even here, hope remains. Uzziah is told that though the land is cut down like a terebinth or an oak, a stump remains, and the holy seed is the stump. The story ends with a remnant again, a seed, a future hidden in what looks like ruin. Theologically, this is covenant mercy. Judgment does not erase God's purpose. The stump remains. The holy seed points to restoration beyond collapse, to life beyond pruning, to a future that God preserves. The same book that announces desolation also announces renewal. The branch will grow again because God's promise is not extinguished. So, what have we decoded in Uzziah's throne room vision? First, crisis can become a doorway. The death of the external king exposes what we were tempted to treat as ultimate, and it can turn our attention toward the true throne. Second, holiness reveals reality. The nearer Uzziah comes to the Lord, the more honest he becomes about himself. True encounter produces humility, not arrogance. Third, purification is grace. Uzziah does not cleanse himself. God provides cleansing, and that cleansing prepares Isaiah to speak with integrity. Fourth, calling follows cleansing. "Here am I, send me," is the natural response of a heart that has been forgiven and restored. Fifth, truth divides. The same light that heals the willing can harden the resistant, because persistent refusal reduces the capacity to receive. Sixth, the seed remains. Even when the tree is cut down, the holy seed is preserved. God holds the future inside what looks like an ending. Now bring this inward. What is your external king? What have you treated as ultimate status, security, approval, control? If it dies, it may feel like loss, but Isaiah would say it can also become revelation. And what are your unclean lips? Where have your words been misaligned with truth? The vision invites confession, not for shame, but for cleansing. The altar is not a threat, it is the place where God prepares a person to live and speak with integrity. In our next movement, Isaiah's inner vision will collide with political crisis. Fear will compete with faith. The question will be whether a people can trust the Lord when pressure rises. We will enter the chapters that lead to the sign of Emmanuel. If this series helps you find the throne within, meaning the inner orientation toward God's holiness, support the work. Like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay aligned with truth. Find your beam.